Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Campaign Middle East on the Record podcast. I'm Anup Omin, the editor of Campaign Middle East, and on this podcast, we speak to key leaders in the region and across the globe about trends and challenges facing the industry. Today, I have with me Alistair Burton, the head of Digital First and Omnichannel Retail at Snap. Alistair, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you here. Alistair, now that I have you on the hot seat, I'm going to pick your brains a little. Yeah.
Please.
We've spoken a bit before the podcast started, and this is a season where everyone's focusing on Ramadan. Marketers are focused on the Ramadan campaigns. As Snap, how are you helping things get a tad easier for marketers? How are you helping them with the right data that they need, with the right insights that they need that could possibly make their lives a tad better?
Yeah, of course. So when we start with, let's take a step back and think about the moment of Ramadan. Ramadan is all about people coming together, communities coming together and creating shared moments and shared experiences. When you look at that alongside Snapchat, this is exactly what Snapchat does, helping people to chat with their friends and family. I was actually in Saudi last week and I was hearing some incredible stories of people of Snapchat helping generations come together, from 90-year-old grandmas to teenagers, everyone in between, and different cities. On the camera, people use filters and lenses to share that moment, and Ramadan is a great example to do that, where they're sharing greetings of the day, be it Founding Day, Ramadan, Eid, or many others. And in terms of content, people are following their favorite content creators. But it's not just about the content creator themselves, it's also about the behind the scenes moment, actually seeing what's going on with their daily lives. So this creates an incredible opportunity for brands to capitalize on this situation for themselves. So when we look at Snapchat, what does Snapchat bring? It brings a huge audience in the region, 25 million active users in Saudi, 4.5 million active users in the UAE, and huge reach across both Gen Z and hard to reach GCC audiences. And the third one is those hard to reach audiences have huge purchasing power. One of the partners that I'm working with at the moment is getting 39% higher average order value. So if you think of that, 39%, if you went to any marketeer, they're able to drive 39% higher average order value. This really kind of brings it together. And this is really accelerated during a time like Ramadan, where people are planning, shopping, and connecting on the platform. And we really see this with the number of stories being viewed in Saudi at 10 billion every day. And you think of that versus the size of the population, it's really huge.
Those are some big numbers. There's a lot to unpack there. 25 million people in Saudi using a platform, 10 billion stories being viewed. You've got, and I like the way you phrase that, you've got memories, moments, and meaning coming back to Ramadan. But I also like the fact that you've said you've been in the region, what, 13, 14 years now?
13, 14
So that's
years. You can tell by the grey
14
hair.
years of Ramadan. You've seen 14 Ramadans in the Middle East. You've been here, you've experienced it. So there is the data side of it, which you've just shared with us from a platform perspective, and everything that offers brands. But I want to segue to the consumers. Real, authentic storytelling. They want to have conversations. They want to give feedback to brands. They want brands to listen to them, but they want that conversation to be real and authentic. But at the same time, they're also asking for privacy. They'd love to have that sense of privacy within those communications. On one side, you see people using their phones. They love using gadgets, laptops, and the likes. But on the other hand, you also have consumers who want immersive, interactive experiences. And that's something that's growing within the region as well. The question within that is, you lie at a very nice place as a platform where you're helping brands connect with communities, cohorts of hyper-local communities in the region. But how do you do that, keeping these preferences in mind?
So you touched on some really key points there. I think some of the things that you mentioned, as you said, I've been in the region for a long time, and some of the prevailing values in the region is authenticity and privacy. And this is what Snapchat has in bucket loads, and this is why Snapchat, as I mentioned on the previous answer, has some significant audiences, but not only significant audiences, very high engagement on the platform. How can brands take advantage of this? So for the first time ever, brands have the opportunity to send snaps like a Snapchatter. So let me explain a little bit more. For the first time, brands can access the chat tab of Snapchat and send immersive experiences to the audiences in UAE and Saudi. And this is the first time that it has been done. So when we talk about authenticity, the reason that the engagement on the platform is so high is because it gives people the opportunity to be completely authentic while setting the privacy settings as they want. But the reason that it is so big for brands is now brands have the opportunity to share their message authentically, share an immersive experience that is native to the platform. So that is one example in the chat tab. A second one is the camera. One of the things that Snapchat is known for is the camera, the lenses, the filters. And there are so many beautiful examples, whereas you actually see the user bringing the experience to life. And instead of the user being passive to the experience, they can become part of that experience. They can live as part of that experience, and they can browse and shop, and you can create these personalized experiences where you are showing the products and flicking through the products, and people get to try it on. So we know that people that try on their products are more likely to buy. And obviously on the final one, the final area is in terms of content. So brands have the ability to create content and to advertise in and amongst content that is being shared by creators and other Snapchatters.
And what part of it, say for example, as a user of Snap, what part of it do you like?
So for myself personally, it goes back to the core heart of Snapchat, of the platform, which is connecting with friends and family, and being able to bring this to life. I have so much fun with my kids, and you look at the memories on Snapchat, and it's really comes to life. And you see the memories that you've created and the groups that you've shared, that you've done something very organically in the moment, in real time, and you've shared it with your family. And then these pop up down the line and you see them and you can reshare them again. But that's what I think the most important thing is: authenticity. People know when something is not authentic, when it is not genuine. People see straight through it. And this is why, let's say, when you look at it from a brand's point of view, it's essential to live by your values and showcase your values. What do you actually stand for? Not say one thing and do another, but actually illustrate, what is the reason that you are there. And to do that, you need to be able to understand your audience's behavior and values, and then decide where do you want to sit as a brand, and then how do you want to bring that to life for your audience.
I want to pick up on that, on authenticity and understanding the audience. We are in a world where we've already started speaking about agentic AI. I'm not even going to get into quantum computing yet, but with the little that we have, the LLM dashboards that we have, the insights that we derive, there's a lot that AI has started doing for us, right? But the truth of the matter is that a lot of brands are sitting on a wealth of first-party data. It's almost, if I can take the allusion to Smaug from Lord of the Rings, it's almost like they're sleeping on a heap of gold, right? And you need a little thief of a hobbit to come in and wake you up to realize the magnitude of what you're sitting on. And how important is it for us to take a step back, really understand that we've got a heap of first-party data, tap into that, and to your point, truly understand our customers.
100%. And talking, I know at the very top of this podcast, we spoke about buzzwords. I think if we went back 2, 3, 4 years ago, you would have heard the word big data a lot.
Exactly.
I'm glad to see that term has disappeared. There is still a huge amount of data out there, but it's not about the size. It's about understanding it, the quality, and then making decisions based upon it and what you choose to do with it.
I want to circle back to the introduction, when I introduced you, I said, Alistair Burton, head of digital first. I didn't say head of digital, I said head of digital first. And I want to pick on that phrase a little bit of digital first because if I'm being very honest, it's been a bit overused. Would you agree?
100%.
Okay, so we're on par there, right? So as the head of digital first, what does digital first mean to you, and how can brands really drive that down to benefit from a digital first strategy?
Digital first, it means going beyond simply running ads on the platform, such as Snapchat. It means really understanding your audience, being able to create immersive experiences, and to be able to drive your business growth, and your bottom line growth. So when we're talking about how to leverage digital strategy, 4 things I want to touch on. Number 1 is understanding your audience. It's essential to understand where they are. So on Snapchat, it has incredibly high reach. When we talk about from a Gen Z perspective, it has 90% reach from 13 to 34-year-olds in Saudi, and 75% reach from the same audience in the UAE. So not only do you need to understand where they are, you need to understand that deeper level, that values, what they're interested in, what creators they are following. And as a brand, you need to be able to use this. The second one is building native experiences. We've all seen so many times TVCs cut into vertical videos. And to go one step further on Snapchat, you've got to look at the Snapchat as an authentic native platform. There are so many things that you can do on the platform. But again, if people realize that it's not native, it just jars it a little bit. So be native. The third one is create, as an extension of the second one, is creating those unique and personalized experiences. So Snapchat has got its AR Ramadan Mall, which is about to launch in the coming days. I know it's been featured in Campaign Emmy a number of times. This is an incredible immersive experience for the user, and giving brands the opportunity to create that immersive experience of their brands with the users in a special moment such as Ramadan. And the fourth one is measurement. So everything is measurable. So we need to make sure we understand what that North Star goal is, make sure we're measuring against it, and have the adaptability or the agility to be able to look at that data, see what the key metrics are, and adapt and change accordingly. So if I was just to summarize the 4, it's understand the audience, making sure you're building native experiences for Snapchat, create personalized and immersive experiences, and making sure you're measuring and adapting based upon the data.
How can brands develop a clear North Star, saying this is a strategy, this is a well thought out strategy, and how does that lead to proper and good business outcomes?
So I think if you look at Snapchat, when Snapchat first came about, a lot of brands used it simply for brand storytelling. Over the last 5 or 6 years, the platform has really focused on data and analytics and performance to be able to drive tangible outcomes for brands. In terms of the North Star is about creating one metric that really truly defines success. So it is essential that all brands have that in mind, so the entire business can follow on that journey and help achieve that. It could be customer acquisition, it could be a certain level of retention, it could be return on ad spend or lifetime value. But it's important to say that this cannot exist in isolation. You've got to understand the customer, the consumer, who they are, where they are, what do they stand for, and you've got to understand the platform, such as Snapchat. How does the platform work? What are the core attributes? Who is the audiences? And how can you best engage the audience on the platform and put all of these different things together? I'll give you a couple of examples. So one example that we'll often hear is awareness. Brands want to achieve a certain level of awareness. But when you actually dig into it, does a brand want to see or achieve a certain number of views or a view count? Or is it important to actually understand what is the impact of the views? Be it traffic that comes through to them, people that they can retain, re-engage again, and actually drive through to sales. When we look at it from a sales perspective, it's essential to go past last click model. So you can tell by the grey hair, I've been around for more than a couple of years. I think last click attribution was something that was around, which was the norm when I started my career. In some instances, it is still there, but it's very important to go beyond that last click model and actually truly understand the deeper metrics of what is driving that emotional connection, what is driving that audience, and what is driving through to the sales, and look beyond that one individual sale. So it's important to go into topics such as incrementality or lifetime value. So each one, what I would do is I would challenge each one, challenge brands to be actually go down one level and understand how is this impacting your brand. From an awareness point of view, do you want to reach count, or do you want to understand how that reach is affecting your brand, such as a brand tracker or brand lift studies? From a consideration point of view, so driving relevant audiences, traffic, app downloads, but does a brand just want a number on a spreadsheet, or does it want to understand how these audiences are interacting on their platforms, the amount of time they're spending on this site, the add to baskets, the engagement? And finally, from a conversion point of view, and again, it's not simply about ticking a box and say they've converted. If they're converted buying a very low value product, is that what you want? Or do you want to optimize towards the higher value products, and you want to start to look at retention rates and lifetime value? Because what is the cost of bringing a user all the way through that journey and then losing them the next day, as opposed to keeping them engaged, understanding them, and making sure you kind of maintain that loyalty?
From everything that you've heard, what would be that one parting message that you really want to drive home and say, if you're moving the needle even 0.5 within the industry, this is what we need to be focusing on according to you?
Most important things is, number one, understand your audiences. 2, create immersive and personalized experiences. And number 3, use data to optimize to achieve your business goals. Ramadan is a perfect moment where communities come together, and Snapchat, this sits organically and naturally with Snapchat, with people coming to the platform to engage and to connect with one another. In terms of Snapchat, it has incredibly high reach, very hard to reach audiences that have a higher purchasing power. So brands that win don't just advertise, but they truly connect with their audiences. And this is what gives brands the opportunity to stand out amongst competition. Snapchat is an incredible platform with a huge audience and incredible technology and data capabilities. So the platform is developing literally on a daily basis. There are new products, new features constantly coming out. So number one, don't be passive. Challenge us. The second one, I would say, is to use the audience insights on the platform. So there's a way that you can upload your audiences onto the platform, and then you can see who your audiences are on the platform, the size, what they're interested in, all sorts of interesting, deeper insights that will give you a better understanding of the platform. And then number 3 is have that balance between brand and performance. We often see these teams and organizations are very siloed. It's a brand team championing only the brand, or it's a performance team. And too often these teams are actually almost
at loggerheads with each other.
At loggerheads. And actually everyone is there from a brand's point of view to hit that one North Star goal. And it's understanding how these different areas work with each other. And in short, by having a stronger brand that people resonate with, will drive better performance and lower acquisition or conversion costs for them. And if you think about some of the top brands that come to your mind in the interest that you have, you know, what drives that is that top of mind awareness, and then using the data, using the signals, using the ability to optimize to be able to achieve your goals. And when you look at some of the biggest brands in the world, they see a 1 percentage point drop in their top of mind awareness. So when you want a product, when you are thirsty, when you want X, what is that first brand that comes to mind? It sees a 1 point drop. this is very significant for a lot of brands. So you need to be maintaining that top of mind awareness and then using the data and the signals from the platform and from the brand itself to understand how this is affecting that brand. So as I mentioned before, it's about all of these different areas working together, not as individual silos, to be able to drive your lower funnel performance.
And so when you're speaking of top of mind awareness, it's not just that top of mind awareness is a KPI in itself, but understanding from an overarching perspective that you still need to do the basics, understand your customer, understand their preferences, speak to them on platforms where they're already at, in the way they like to be communicated in an immersive interactive experience. And that's where a platform provides the right watering holes, so to speak, for brands to come and share a message authentically to consumers that are in a position where they are primed to listen.
100%.
Right? And that's a perfect wrap on this episode of Campaign Middle East on the Record podcast. Thank you for joining us on this show. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with all your friends and family as well. Thank you for joining us, and until next time, goodbye.